Julian Reeves stood in the back of Mount Zion Cathedral, watching rain hammer against the stained glass windows. His uncle's funeral, Raymond Reeves. The man who raised him after his parents died. The man who vanished 20 years ago without a word. The man Julian thought had abandoned him, and now the man lying in that mahogany casket up front. Julian's hands gripped the back of the pew. He hadn't cried yet, couldn't cry. Too many questions, too much anger mixed with grief. Mr. Reeves, Julian turned. A woman stood behind him. Asian features, sharp cheekbones, black suit that probably cost more than his monthly rent. She held a black envelope with gold lettering. "I'm Simone Chen," the woman said, extending her hand. "I was your uncle's attorney." Julian shook her hand, firm grip, all business. "I'm sorry for your loss," Simone continued. "But we need to talk privately, it's urgent." "About what?" Simone glanced around the cathedral. Mourners were starting to file out. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "About the $140 billion your uncle left you." Julian blinked. Then he laughed short, bitter. "Ma'am, I think you got the wrong Julian Reeves. I run a barbecue restaurant on the south side. I'm barely keeping the lights on." "Smoke and Soul Barbecue on Metropolitan Avenue," Simone said without missing a beat. "You've owned it for 12 years. Before that, you worked at Pascal's restaurant for 6 years. You're married to Vanessa Harris Reeves, CEO of Prestige Properties Group. You have a 16-year-old daughter named Maya who attends North Atlanta High School. You drive a 2015 Honda Accord with a dent in the rear bumper from when you backed into a shopping cart at Kroger last month." Julian's blood went cold. "How do you know all that?" "Your uncle Raymond Reeves was my client for 23 years, Simone said. "And he's been watching you, Julian, every single day. He never abandoned you. He was protecting you." "Protecting me from what?" "From yourself, from temptation, from becoming the kind of man who values money over character." Simone handed him the black envelope. "Everything's in here, but I suggest we talk somewhere private. There are conditions." Julian stared at the envelope, gold seal, expensive paper, his name written in his uncle's handwriting. "Conditions? Yes, your uncle's will requires you to prove something before you can access the full inheritance." Simone's dark eyes held his. "He wants to make sure you won't become the people who hurt you." Before Julian could respond, his phone buzzed. "Text message, Vanessa, we need to talk tonight, it's important." Julian's stomach tightened. He knew that tone. That was her business decision tone. "Mr. Reeves," Simone pulled out a business card. "Call me when you're ready, but don't wait too long. The clock has already started ticking." She walked away, heels clicking on the marble floor. Julian looked down at the black envelope in his hands, then at his phone. Everything was about to change. He could feel it. He just didn't know how much. 3 days earlier, "Baby, pass me that dry rub." Julian reached for the container of his signature spice blend, paprika, brown sugar, cayenne, garlic powder, and his secret ingredient he'd never tell a soul about. It was Thursday afternoon. Lunch rush at Smoke and Soul Barbecue. The small restaurant on Metropolitan Avenue was packed like always. 20 tables, everyone full, people lined up at the counter. Julian, his line cook Marcus, called from the kitchen. "We're running low on brisket." "I got more in the smoker," Julian called back. "Give it 10 minutes." He loved this. The heat, the smoke, the smell of hickory wood and meat slowly transforming into something beautiful. This wasn't just cooking. This was art. Looked up. His daughter Maya pushed through the front door, backpack slung over one shoulder, phone in hand like it was attached to her palm. "Hey, baby girl." Julian wiped his hands on his apron. "You hungry?" "Always," Maya grinned. She had his smile, her mother's eyes, best of both of them before things went wrong. "Sit down, I'll make you a plate. Extra mac and cheese, you know it." Maya slid into a corner booth, immediately pulling out her phone, probably editing another one of her vlogs. The girl had almost 50,000 followers on YouTube. Talked about everything: social justice, food access, gentrification in Atlanta neighborhoods. Julian was proud as hell. He loaded up a plate. Pulled pork, mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, set it in front of her. "Dad, you're the best." Maya dug in immediately. "How was school?" "Good. We're doing this project on economic inequality in Atlanta. I'm focusing on food deserts." She paused, chewing. "Did you know there are neighborhoods 10 minutes from here where people can't even buy fresh vegetables?" "I did know that, baby." "Well, I'm gonna do something about it. Maybe start a community garden initiative or something." That was his girl, Always trying to fix the world, the door chimed. Julian looked up. His wife walked in, Vanessa Harris Reeves, 46 years old, CEO of Prestige Properties Group, one of the most successful black-owned real estate companies in Atlanta. Designer suit. Expensive bag. Hair laid perfectly, she looked like money. She looked at Julian like he smelled like smoke, which to be fair, he did. Vanessa, Julian straightened up. Didn't expect to see you here. Need to talk. Her voice was cold, professional, the voice she used with employees she was about to fire. Maya looked up from her phone. Hey, Mom. Hi, baby. Vanessa's voice softened slightly. Can you give us a minute? Maya's eyes darted between her parents. She knew that look. Yeah. I'll go help Marcus in the back. She grabbed her plate and disappeared into the kitchen. Vanessa sat down in the booth. Didn't touch anything, like she was afraid the restaurant might contaminate her $1,000 suit. Julian sat across from her. What's going on? Vanessa opened her purse, pulled out a manila folder, slid it across the table. Want a divorce? Words hit Julian like a punch to the chest. He stared at the folder, didn't open it, couldn't. Already spoken to my attorney, she continued, voice steady, practiced, like she'd rehearsed this. I'm willing to be fair, you can keep the restaurant, I'll keep the house. We'll split Maya's time 50-50 until what? Vanessa's jaw tightened. Until the custody arrangement is finalized. Custody arrangement? Julian's voice rose. What the hell are you talking about? Julian, let's be realistic. Vanessa folded her hands on the table. I'm building an empire. I'm about to announce my run for mayor of Atlanta. I need stability. I need a partner who can stand beside me in that world. I can't do that. You run a barbecue joint, Julian. She said it like it was a disease. You smell like smoke every day. You wear stained aprons. You work with your hands. I thought you loved that about me. I did, when we were 25 and broke together. Vanessa's eyes were hard. But I'm not that girl anymore. I've grown. I've evolved. And you? I what? You're still exactly where you were 20 years ago. The words cut deep. Julian felt them slice into every insecure place he'd ever had. So that's it. Julian's voice was quiet now, dangerous. 20 years of marriage gone because I'm not good enough for your image. It's not about good enough. Then what's it about, Vanessa? Say it. She met his eyes. I'm marrying Trevor Washington. Julian froze. Trevor Washington, real estate developer, old Atlanta money. Family worth about $40 million, political connections all over the city. Trevor, Julian repeated slowly. Trevor Washington. Yes. How long? That's not. How long have you been with him, Vanessa? She looked away. 6 months. 6 months. Julian laughed, bitter, broken sound. So you've been planning this for a while. The custody thing, you're taking Maya from me. Not taking her, I'm providing her with the life she deserves. Trevor's family has connections to the best schools, the best colleges. She's happy here. Julian's voice boomed through the restaurant. Customers looked over. He lowered his voice. She's happy with me. She's 16. She doesn't know what she needs. You know that a future mayor's daughter can't be seen visiting her father at a barbecue shack on the south side. Vanessa stood up. Sign the papers, Julian. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I'll have my lawyer contact you about custody mediation. She turned to leave. Vanessa, she stopped, didn't turn around. I gave you everything, Julian said quietly. 20 years, I supported your business when you were just starting out. I took care of Maya when you were working 18-hour days. I never complained, never asked for credit. I just loved you. Vanessa's shoulders tensed. For a moment, Julian thought she might turn around, might remember who they used to be, but she didn't. Goodbye, Julian. The door chimed. She was gone. Julian sat there, staring at the manila folder on the table. Maya appeared from the kitchen. Her eyes were red. Dad, Julian looked at his daughter. The only good thing to come from his marriage, the only thing that mattered. Come here, baby girl. She slid into the booth beside him. He wrapped his arm around her. It's gonna be okay, Julian said. He didn't know if he was telling her or himself, so back to the present day on the day of the funeral. Julian opened the black envelope in his car. Inside was a letter, handwritten. His uncle's distinctive script, Dear Julian, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm sorry I left you 20 years ago. I'm sorry I never explained. I'm sorry I let you think I abandoned you. But I didn't leave because I stopped loving you, son. I left because I loved you too much. When your parents died and you came to live with me, you were 7 years old, heartbroken, lost. I was all you had. And I was a billionaire you knew nothing about. I watched you grow up in my mansion. Watched you get everything you wanted with a snap of your fingers. And I saw something that terrified me. I saw you starting to become entitled. Starting to think money was the answer to everything. Starting to look down on people who didn't have what we had, so I made a choice. I left. I gave you nothing. I let you struggle. I let you work minimum wage jobs. I let you build something from nothing. And I watched you, Julian. Every day for 20 years, I watched you marry Vanessa when you were both broke. I watched you work 3 jobs to help her start her company. I watched you open Smoke and Soul with a loan you could barely afford. I watched you be a father to Maya. I watched you stay humble, stay kind, stay real. You passed the test, son. The test I never could have given you if you'd grown up rich. Now I'm giving you everything. $140 billion. Platinum Sky Corporation. Real estate holdings across 15 states. Restaurant chains. Investment portfolios, all of it. But there's one condition: you have 90 days to prove you can handle this power without it corrupting you. You must step into this world, the world of boardrooms and penthouses and people who'll smile while stabbing you in the back. And you must stay true to who you are. Simone Chen will guide you. She's been my attorney and friend for over 20 years. She knows everything. Trust her. If you can survive 90 days in this world without becoming the kind of man who uses money as a weapon, who treats people like transactions, who forgets where he came from, then it's all yours. Forever. But if you fail, if you let this wealth corrupt you, everything goes to charity. And you go back to Smoke and Soul with nothing but the memories of what could have been. I believe in you, Julian. I always have. Now show the world what a real man looks like. Love, Uncle Raymond. Julian read the letter 3 times. $140 billion, 90 days, don't let it corrupt you. He pulled out his phone, called the number on Simone Chen's business card. She answered on the first ring. Mr. Reeves, when do we start? Tomorrow, 9 a.m., Platinum Sky Tower, 52nd floor. He could hear the smile in her voice. Wear something nice. You're about to meet your board of directors. What? Your uncle owned Platinum Sky Corporation. Commercial real estate, residential developments, hospitality, 37 subsidiaries across the country. As of this morning, you own controlling interest, 60% of shares. Julian's head spun. I don't know anything about running a corporation. You don't have to, that's what the board is for. You just have to lead them, make decisions, prove you can handle the responsibility. If I can't, then in 90 days you'll be back at Smoke and Soul Barbecue. Broke. Divorced. Fighting for custody of your daughter. Simone's voice softened. But I don't think that's going to happen. Your uncle believed in you, so do I. Why? Because I've been watching you too, Mr. Reeves, for 5 years. Your uncle sent me to investigate you, to make sure you were worthy of this inheritance. And you know what I found? What? A man who tips 50% at restaurants. A man who hired Marcus even though he had a felony record because you believed everyone deserves a second chance. A man who gives free meals to homeless folks even when you can barely make rent. A man who coaches Little League on weekends for free. A man who stayed faithful to a wife who stopped loving him years ago. Julian's throat tightened. That's the man your uncle wanted to give this empire to, Simone said. Not someone who was born into wealth, someone who earned the right to have it. Julian sat in silence, rain drumming on his windshield. 9 a.m., Simone repeated. Don't be late, Mr. Reeves. Your new life starts tomorrow. She hung up. Julian stared at his phone. Then he called Dante. Dante Crawford had been Julian's best friend since 3rd grade. Grew up on the same block in Pittsburgh, a neighborhood in southwest Atlanta. While Julian went into cooking, Dante went into music. Now he owned a recording studio in Castleberry Hill and produced for some of Atlanta's biggest artists. Yo, Jules, Dante answered. Background noise, music, laughter. Man, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the funeral. Session ran late and I just inherited $140 billion. Silence then. Julian, what kind of drugs are you on right now? I'm serious. Stop playing. Uncle Raymond left me everything. His entire empire, Platinum Sky Corporation. I'm a billionaire. Dante, more silence. Julian, are you having a breakdown? You want me to come get you? Julian laughed. Wild, unhinged. I wish I was making this up. Prove it. How? I don't know, man. Show me a bank statement or something. Julian put him on speaker, opened his banking app. His regular account, Smoke and Soul business account, showed $3,847, then dollars. He opened the email Simone had sent him. Login credentials for Platinum Sky Executive Holdings. He logged in. The number on the screen made him dizzy. Account balance, $8,750,000,000, and dollars. That was just one account. The liquid assets. The email listed 17 other accounts. Julian took a screenshot, sent it to Dante, heard his friend choke on the other end. What the Julian, bro, what the hell? Yeah, this is real. Yeah, my God, oh my God, you're a billionaire, you're literally a billionaire. Yeah, Vanessa, no, Julian's jaw tight. No, you gonna tell her? I don't know. Jules, man, she just asked you for a divorce. She's marrying Trevor Washington. She wants to take Maya from you. I know. What are you gonna do? Julian stared at the manila folder on his passenger seat. Divorce papers, custody mediation, then he looked at the black envelope. Uncle Raymond's letter, don't let it corrupt you, stay true to who you are. I'm gonna fight for my daughter, Julian said quietly. That's what I'm gonna do. Vanessa, she made her choice. Gonna tell her about the money. Julian thought about it. Thought about Vanessa's face when she called him a barbecue cook like it was an insult. Thought about 20 years of slowly growing disrespect. Thought about her looking at him like he was beneath her. Yet, Julian said, I got 90 days to prove I can handle this. Let's see what happens. Dante was quiet for a moment then. Your uncle was a smart man. You say that? Because he knew you'd need to see who people really are before you told them what you really have. Julian nodded slowly. Yeah. What's the play? Tomorrow I meet the board. Start learning the business. But I don't tell anyone, not Vanessa, not her family, nobody, until I'm ready. When will you be ready? When I know I can beat her in court, when I can protect Maya, when I can prove I'm not just some barbecue cook who got lucky. You were never just a barbecue cook. Vanessa thinks so. Vanessa's about to find out how wrong she is. Next morning, Julian stood outside Platinum Sky Tower in Midtown Atlanta, 60 stories of glass and steel. Reflecting the morning sun like a diamond, his building, he still couldn't wrap his mind around it. Simone met him in the lobby. She looked sharp, burgundy suit, hair pulled back, all business. Mr. Reeves. She extended her hand. Julian shook it. He'd worn his best suit, the one he bought 5 years ago for Vanessa's award dinner. It was a little tight now. A little worn. Simone noticed, didn't comment. She asked. No, she smiled. Good. If you were ready, I'd be worried. Come on. They rode the elevator to the 52nd floor. Executive offices. The doors opened, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Atlanta skyline. Marble floors, modern art on the walls, everything sleek, expensive, intimidating. This way. Simone led him down a hallway. They passed offices, people working, assistants typing, phones ringing. Everyone stopped and stared as Julian walked by. He heard the whispers. Is that him? Raymond's nephew. He doesn't look like a billionaire. Simone pushed open double doors at the end of the hall. Conference room. Long table. 12 people already seated. They all looked up when Julian entered. 12 of the most powerful-looking people Julian had ever seen. Suits that probably cost more than his car. Watches that could pay his rent for a year. Faces that screamed money, power, control. At the head of the table sat a white man, late 50s, silver hair, cold blue eyes. He stood up slowly. So, the man said, voice dripping with skepticism. You're Julian Reeves. Julian met his eyes, didn't flinch. I'm Isaac Blackwell, CEO of Blackwell Hospitality Group. I've been on this board for 15 years. I knew your uncle well. Nice to meet you. Isaac didn't extend his hand. Let me be frank, Mr. Reeves. Raymond was a brilliant man, a visionary. He built this empire from nothing, and now he's left it too. He looked Julian up and down. A barbecue cook. Murmurs around the table. Julian felt the heat rising in his chest. Felt the old instinct to defend himself, to prove his worth. But then he remembered Uncle Raymond's letter, stay true to who you are. That's right, Julian said calmly. I am a barbecue cook. I've been running Smoke and Soul Barbecue for 12 years. Before that, I worked in kitchens all over Atlanta. I know food, I know service, I know hard work. Running a barbecue shack is hardly qualifications for running a $140 billion corporation, Isaac shot back. Maybe not, Julian agreed. But my uncle thought it was. And since he built this company, I'm gonna trust his judgment over yours. Room went silent. Isaac's eyes narrowed. We'll see how long that confidence lasts. Simone stepped forward. Mr. Blackwell, I'd appreciate it if you extended Mr. Reeves the same respect you gave his uncle. Respect is earned, Isaac said coldly. Then I'll earn it, Julian said. I got 90 days, watch me. He sat down at the head of the table, Uncle Raymond's chair, his chair now. The board members exchanged glances. Some looked skeptical, some looked curious. One woman, black, early 40s, sharp eyes, looked almost impressed. Simone moved to the front of the room, pulled up a presentation on the screen. Let's begin, she said. Mr. Reeves, this is your board. These 12 people oversee the operations of Platinum Sky's 37 subsidiaries. I'll introduce them briefly. The next hour was a blur of names, titles, numbers: CFO, COO, VP of Acquisitions, Director of Operations. Julian tried to remember it all, tried to look like he belonged here, but the whole time he felt Isaac Blackwell's eyes on him, judging, waiting for him to fail. When the meeting finally ended, the board members filed out. The black woman approached Julian, extended her hand. Nicole Grant, she said, VP of Community Development. Julian shook her hand. Julian Reeves, I know, she smiled slightly. I grew up in Pittsburgh too, Southwest Atlanta. Kidding, my grandmother used to take me to the fish fry at Greater Piney Grove Baptist Church. Your uncle donated the building fund. Julian's eyebrows rose. I didn't know that. Your uncle did a lot of things people didn't know about, quietly, without needing credit. Nicole's eyes held his. Something tells me you're the same way. I try to be. Good, because these people. She gestured to the now empty conference room. Most of them care about profit margins and stock prices, but your uncle cared about people, communities, legacy. I hope you do too. Do, Nicole nodded. Then you might actually survive this. Good luck, Mr. Reeves. She left. Simone approached. Well, that went better than I expected. Really, because Isaac Blackwell looked like he wanted to throw me out a window. Isaac's old guard. He doesn't like change, but he's smart. If you prove yourself, he'll respect you. If I don't, then he'll eat you alive. Simone smiled. But you won't let that happen. Julian's phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. Vanessa, Maya told me you haven't signed the papers yet. Julian, don't drag this out. My lawyer will be in touch about custody mediation next week. Be reasonable. His jaw tightened. Simone noticed. Everything okay? My wife, ex-wife, wants custody of my daughter. What grounds? That I'm not successful enough. That I can't provide the life Maya deserves. Julian's voice was bitter. That I'm just a barbecue cook. Simone was quiet for a moment. Then, Mr. Reeves, can I give you some advice, please? Your uncle's will has conditions. You can't use this wealth to hurt people. You can't become vindictive or cruel. That's not who you are. She paused. But the will says nothing about protecting yourself or your daughter. Julian looked at her. What are you saying? Saying that if your ex-wife wants to take your daughter because she thinks you can't provide for her. Simone's dark eyes glinted. Maybe it's time she learned exactly what you can provide. I thought I wasn't supposed to tell anyone yet. You're not supposed to announce it to the world, but strategic reveals, that's just good chess. Simone pulled out a tablet. Vanessa Harris Reeves, CEO of Prestige Properties. Her company is valued at approximately $8 million. Impressive. Yeah, she built it from the ground up. With your help, I assume? Julian nodded. When we first got married, I worked 3 jobs so she could quit her receptionist position and focus on getting her real estate license. Then I helped her with the down payment on her first office space, worked the books for her while she built her client base. Now she's leaving you for Trevor Washington, whose family is worth $40 million. Simone tapped on her tablet. Interesting. What's interesting? Prestige Properties has been struggling lately. 3 of their major developments fell through last year. They're about $4 million in debt. Vanessa's been looking for investors. How do you know that? Simone gave him a look. Mr. Reeves, I'm the attorney for a $140 billion corporation. I know everything about everyone in Atlanta's real estate market. Vanessa needs money. Trevor's family has it. Or rather, they did. Did? Platinum Sky acquired Washington Development Group 6 months ago. Trevor's family company is now a subsidiary of yours. Julian's eyes widened. Wait, you're telling me Trevor Washington works for you now? He just doesn't know it yet. Julian sat down slowly. His head was spinning. Vanessa, he asked, Prestige Properties is small, but it has potential. Your uncle had his eye on it, actually. Thought about making an acquisition offer. Now the decision is yours. Simone leaned against the table. You could buy her company outright, make her an employee, show her exactly who has the power. Julian thought about it. Thought about Vanessa's face when she'd called him a barbecue cook. Thought about her taking Maya from him. Then he thought about Uncle Raymond's letter. Don't let it corrupt you. No, Julian said quietly. Simone raised an eyebrow. No, not buying her company to humiliate her. That's not who I am. Then what are you going to do? Julian stood up. Looked out the floor-to-ceiling windows at the Atlanta skyline. Somewhere out there was his daughter, worried, confused, caught between her parents. Gonna fight for Maya, Julian said, fair and square in court with the best lawyer money can buy. He turned to Simone. That's you, right? She smiled slowly. Mr. Reeves, I'm a corporate attorney. I don't practice family law. You know someone who does. I know the best family attorney in the state. Them. But there's a complication. What? I'm currently listed as counsel for Platinum Sky. If I help you in your custody case and if Vanessa finds out you own Platinum Sky. Simone hesitated. It could be seen as a conflict of interest. What do we do? I officially recuse myself from the Platinum Sky account. Recommend another attorney to take my place for the next 90 days, and I represent you personally in your custody case. You do that. Your uncle was more than a client to me, Mr. Reeves. He was a mentor, a friend. He asked me to help you navigate this transition. That's what I'm doing. Julian studied her face. Smart, loyal, principled. Okay, he said. Let's do it. More thing, Simone said. The custody mediation next week. Vanessa's lawyer will argue that you can't provide for Maya, that your income is insufficient. And we're going to prove them wrong, not by revealing your inheritance, but by showing the court who you are as a father, your character, your dedication. The life you've built for Maya. Will that be enough? Against Trevor Washington's $40 million family and Vanessa's political ambitions, Simone smiled. Maybe not, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That night, Julian sat in his apartment above smoke and soul barbecue, one bedroom. Small kitchen, furniture from IKEA. Everything he owned could fit in a moving truck, everything except what was now in his bank account. He looked at the divorce papers on his kitchen table. Still unsigned, his phone rang. Maya, hey baby girl. Dad, Mom's freaking out. Maya's voice was tight. She keeps asking why you haven't signed the papers yet. What you tell her? That you're probably busy with the restaurant. But Dad, she's talking to lawyers about custody. She wants me to live with her and Trevor full time. Julian's fist clenched. That's not gonna happen. How do you know? Because I'm gonna fight for you, Maya, I promise you that. Dad, Mom has money, she has lawyers, Trevor's family has connections. I know, baby, I know. So how are you gonna fight them? You can barely afford. She stopped herself. Afford what? Silence. Maya, afford what? Nothing. I know the restaurant's been struggling. I see the bills on your desk sometimes. I know you're stressed about money. And I know Mom knows that too. She's gonna use it against you. Julian's heart broke a little. His daughter, his 16-year-old daughter, was worried about him, trying to protect him. Maya, listen to me. I don't care how much money your mom has. I don't care about Trevor's connections. You are my daughter, and I will move heaven and earth to keep you in my life. You understand? I don't want to leave you, Dad. Her voice cracked. I don't care about the big house or the fancy schools or any of that. I just want to be with you. Julian's eyes burned. You will be, I promise. How can you promise that? He almost told her. Almost said the words, I'm a billionaire now. I own half of Atlanta. Your mother has no idea who she's dealing with, but he stopped himself. Because this wasn't about money. This was about being a father, about showing Maya that love and character matter more than wealth. Just trust me, baby girl, Julian said. Okay, Dad, I love you. I love you too. He hung up, sat there in his small apartment, looked at the divorce papers, then he picked up a pen and signed them because Vanessa wanted a divorce. Fine, he'd give her that, but she wasn't taking his daughter, not now, not ever. Julian pulled out his phone. Texted Simone, Julian, papers are signed. Schedule the custody mediation. Let's do this, Simone, good. I'll have someone pick up the papers tomorrow. Get some rest, Mr. Reeves. The real battle starts Monday. Julian stared at his phone. Monday, 4 days away. 4 days until Vanessa learned that the man she thought she could push around, the man she looked down on, the man she called just a barbecue cook, that man was about to become her worst nightmare, not because he wanted revenge, but because he wanted his daughter, and he'd burn down everything to protect her. Monday morning, Julian pulled up to the law offices of Chen and Associates in Buckhead. Simone met him at the door. Ready as I'll ever be. They walked into the conference room. Vanessa was already there. Designer suit, Chanel probably, hair perfect, makeup flawless, Next to her sat Trevor Washington, tall, light-skinned, tailored suit, arrogant smile, and next to Trevor sat their attorney, Marcus Webb, top divorce lawyer in Atlanta. Ruthless, Vanessa looked up when Julian entered. Her eyes swept over him, worn suit, work boots, calloused hands, and she looked away. Dismissed him without a word. Trevor smirked. "Mr. Reeves," Marcus Webb said, standing. "I know who you are," Julian said. Marcus smiled, shark smile. "Good, then you know I don't lose. There's a first time for everything." Simone stepped forward. "I'm Simone Chen, representing Mr. Reeves." Marcus's smile faltered slightly. "Simone Chen, the corporate attorney. I practice family law as well." "Since when?" "Since now." Simone sat down, gesturing for Julian to do the same. "Shall we begin?" The mediator, a woman in her 60s named Patricia Moore, opened a folder. "We're here to discuss custody arrangements for Maya Reeves, age 16. Ms. Harris Reeves, you filed for primary physical custody, is that correct?" "Yes," Vanessa said. Her voice was steady, cold. "I believe it's in Maya's best interest to live with me full-time." "What grounds?" Patricia asked. Marcus leaned forward. "Ms. Harris Reeves can provide a stable home environment. She has the financial resources to ensure Maya has access to the best education, extracurricular activities, and opportunities. Mr. Reeves, while a dedicated father, cannot offer the same level of support." Patricia looked at Julian. "Mr. Reeves, do you contest this?" "Absolutely," Julian said. "On what grounds?" "On the grounds that I've been Maya's primary caregiver for the past 16 years. I'm the one who takes her to school. I'm the one who helps with homework. I'm the one who shows up to her soccer games and her debate tournaments. Her mother works 60 hours a week. I'm the one who's actually there." Vanessa's jaw tightened. "Financial stability is only one factor," Simone added. "And Mr. Reeves owns a successful business. He has steady income. He can provide for his daughter." Marcus laughed, actually laughed. "A barbecue restaurant barely scraping by. Come on, let's be serious." Julian felt the anger rising, pushed it down. "Ms. Harris Reeves," Patricia said, "what is your annual income?" "Approximately $800,000, Vanessa said, murmurs of approval from Trevor and Marcus. "Mr. Reeves?" Julian hesitated, looked at Simone. She gave him a slight nod. "Smoke and Soul Barbecue, about $60,000 a year," Julian said. Marcus pounced. "Your Honor, the disparity is clear. Ms. Harris Reeves earns 13 times what Mr. Reeves does. She can provide." "I'm not finished," Julian said quietly. Everyone stopped. Julian looked at Vanessa. "I also have additional income, investments, inheritance." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "What inheritance?" "My Uncle Raymond passed away last week. He left me some assets." "Much?" Marcus demanded. Simone held up a hand. "That's irrelevant to this mediation. Mr. Reeves's financial information will be disclosed in the appropriate legal channels, but suffice it to say, he is more than capable of providing for his daughter." "Much?" Vanessa repeated. Her voice had an edge now. Julian met her eyes. "Enough." "That's not an answer, Julian. It's the only answer you're getting today." Trevor leaned over, whispered something to Vanessa. She shook her head, frustrated. Patricia made notes. "We'll need full financial disclosure from both parties within 30 days. In the meantime, I'm recommending temporary joint custody. Maya will split her time equally between both parents until we reconvene." "That's unacceptable," Marcus said. Your client will accept the mediator's recommendation or will take this to court," Simone said smoothly. "And I promise you, Mr. Webb, you don't want that." Marcus's eyes flashed. "Is that a threat?" "It's a fact." The room fell silent. Patricia closed her folder. "We'll reconvene in 30 days. Both parties will submit financial disclosures. We'll also be interviewing Maya to assess her preferences." Meeting adjourned. Everyone stood. Vanessa grabbed Julian's arm as he turned to leave. "What inheritance, Julian?" He looked down at her hand on his arm. She let go. "Uncle Raymond left me some things," Julian said. "What things?" "Does it matter? You already left me. You're marrying Trevor." "Why do you care?" "Because you're using it to try and take my daughter from me." "Our daughter, and I'm not taking her, I'm keeping her. There's a difference." Vanessa's eyes searched his face. "You're different." Yes, I don't know, you seem less desperate, less pathetic, less beneath you." She flinched. "The same man I've always been, Vanessa," Julian said quietly. "You're just finally paying attention." He walked out. Simone caught up with him in the hallway. "That went well," she said. "She's going to dig," Julian said. She's going to try and find out about the inheritance. She won't find anything unless we want her to. When will we want her to? When the time is right. Simone pressed the elevator button. For now, let her wonder, let her worry, let her realize she doesn't know you as well as she thought she did. Elevator dinged. Julian stepped inside, looked back at the conference room. Through the glass walls, he could see Vanessa and Trevor arguing. Marcus on his phone, looking stressed. They had no idea what was coming, and honestly, neither did Julian, but he was about to find out. Are you hooked? Does Julian have what it takes to win custody of Maya? And what will happen when Vanessa discovers the truth about his inheritance? Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our stories. Drop a comment. Would you forgive someone who treated you the way Vanessa treated Julian? Let me know below. I will be reading every comment. If this story is hitting you in the feels, share it with someone who needs to hear it. The text message came on a Thursday afternoon. Julian was in the kitchen at Smoke and Soul, pulling a brisket out of the smoker when his phone buzzed. Maya, Dad, I need to tell you something. Please don't be mad. His stomach dropped. He wiped his hands on his apron and stepped into his office, a cramped room behind the kitchen with a desk, a filing cabinet, and a poster of Miles Davis on the wall. He called her immediately. Baby girl, what's wrong? Mom's having an engagement party this Saturday. Maya's voice was small. At the Atlanta History Center, big fancy thing, she wants me there. Julian closed his eyes. Of course she did. Okay, he said carefully. She said I have to come, said it would look bad if I wasn't there. Said people are expecting to meet Trevor's future stepdaughter. The words hit Julian like a slap. Stepdaughter. And what do you want to do? Julian asked. I don't want to go, Dad. I don't want to stand there and smile while she parades me around like some prop to prove she's a good mom. Maya's voice cracked. But she said if I don't go, she'll tell the mediator I'm being difficult, that I'm trying to sabotage her relationship. Julian's fist clenched around the phone. She said that? Yeah, he took a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Then you go, Dad. You go to the party. You smile. You be polite. You don't give her any ammunition to use against us in court. You understand? Silence. Maya, I understand, she whispered. I just hate this. I know, baby, I know. Julian leaned back in his chair. But it's only a few hours. Then you come home to me, okay? Okay, I love you. I love you too, Dad. She hung up. Julian sat there staring at the phone. An engagement party. This Saturday, Vanessa and Trevor celebrating their future together. In front of Atlanta's elite. Probably half the city's power players would be there. And Maya would have to stand there and pretend to be happy about it. His phone buzzed again. This time, Simone, did you hear about the engagement party, Julian? Yeah. Maya just told me, Simone, I got an invitation too. Vanessa's inviting everyone connected to Atlanta's real estate and political circles. Julian, why would she invite you, Simone? Because I'm the attorney for Platinum Sky Corporation. She doesn't know I'm representing you in the custody case. I haven't filed the official paperwork yet, wanted to wait until after financial disclosures. Julian thought for a moment. Julian, can you get me into that party, Simone? Why would you want to go, Julian? Because I want to see who my daughter's going to be surrounded by. I want to see what Vanessa's world really looks like. And I want to see this man who thinks he's going to be Maya's stepfather, Simone. Julian, that's a bad idea. Julian, why, Simone? Because you'll have to watch your ex-wife celebrate her engagement to another man. You'll have to smile and be polite while people who don't know you exist look down on you. It'll hurt. Julian, I can handle it. Simone, can you? Without losing your temper, without revealing who you are. Your uncle's will requires you to navigate this world without becoming bitter or vengeful. Walking into that party is a test you didn't have to take. Julian, maybe I need to take it. Long pause. Simone, fine. I'll put you on my +1. But Julian, you have to promise me you won't do anything reckless. Julian, I promise. Simone, wear a suit, a good one. I'll send a stylist to your apartment tomorrow. Julian, a stylist. Simone, if you're going to walk into that world, you need to look like you belong there. Trust me. It was on a Friday afternoon. The stylist's name was Cameron. Tall, black, impeccably dressed, with an eye that could assess your entire life in 3 seconds. He walked into Julian's apartment, looked around at the IKEA furniture and second-hand decorations and said, Honey, we have work to do. Hours later, Julian stood in front of his bathroom mirror, barely recognizing himself. Tailored navy suit, crisp white shirt, Italian leather shoes, Watch that Cameron said was understated but expensive Cartier, not Rolex, because you're not trying to impress, you're just quietly wealthy. You clean up nice, Cameron said, adjusting Julian's collar. But the suit is only half of it. You need to walk different, talk different. These people can smell insecurity from a mile away. Not insecure. No, baby, you're not, but you're also not used to their world. So here's what you do. Shoulders back, chin up, don't apologize for existing. When someone asks what you do, don't say, I run a barbecue place. Say, I'm in the restaurant and hospitality industry. When they ask where you're from, don't say Pittsburgh neighborhood. Say Southwest Atlanta, born and raised. Own it, make them respect it. Julian nodded slowly. And most importantly, Cameron said, meeting his eyes in the mirror, remember that money doesn't make you better than anyone, it just makes you richer. Don't forget where you came from, don't become them. Julian thought of Uncle Raymond's letter. Don't let it corrupt you. I won't, Julian said. Cameron smiled. Good, now let's get you to that party. Saturday evening, the Atlanta History Center was lit up like a palace, string lights in the trees. A red carpet leading to the entrance. Valets parking luxury cars, Mercedes, BMW, Tesla, Bentley. Julian pulled up in his 2015 Honda Accord. The valet looked at the car like it was contaminated. I'll park this in the back, the kid said. You do that, Julian replied, handing him the keys. Simone was waiting at the entrance. She looked stunning, emerald green dress, hair down, diamond earrings catching the light. You look good, she said, appraising his suit. Cameron's work. He's the best. She linked her arm through his. Ready? No. Let's go. They walked inside. The main hall was transformed into something out of a magazine. Ice sculptures, champagne fountains, a string quartet playing Vivaldi. Waiters in white jackets carrying trays of hors d'oeuvres and people. Hundreds of people, Atlanta's elite. Real estate developers. City council members, business owners. Old money and new money all mixing together in expensive clothes and fake smiles. Julian felt every eye turn toward him, and Simone, as they entered, whispers, Who's that with Simone Chen? I've never seen him before. Is that a Brioni suit? Julian kept his shoulders back, chin up. Didn't apologize for existing. There's the bar, Simone said. Let's get you a drink. You look like you need one. They were halfway across the room when Julian saw her. Vanessa, she stood near the center of the hall, surrounded by admirers. Wearing a white dress, not quite a wedding dress, but close. Hair swept up. Diamonds at her throat, she looked beautiful, she looked happy, and next to her stood Trevor Washington, tall, handsome. Light brown skin, sharp jawline, tailored tuxedo. He had his arm around Vanessa's waist, smiling at something a councilman was saying. Julian's chest tightened. 20 years. He'd been married to Vanessa for 20 years. And now she was here, celebrating her future with another man. Julian, Simone said quietly. Breathe. He realized he'd stopped walking. Fine, he said. You don't look fine. I said I'm fine. He forced himself to keep moving toward the bar, away from Vanessa and Trevor, but before they could get there, a voice called out. Simone Chen, is that you? A woman in her 50s approached, white, perfectly coiffed blonde hair dripping in jewelry. Margaret Hartwell, Simone said smoothly. How wonderful to see you. Darling, I didn't know you were coming. Margaret air-kissed both of Simone's cheeks. Then her eyes slid to Julian. And who is this handsome gentleman? This is Julian Reeves, Simone said. Julian, this is Margaret Hartwell. She sits on the board of the Atlanta Arts Council. Lovely to meet you, Julian said, shaking her hand. Reeves, Margaret repeated, eyes narrowing. Are you related to Raymond Reeves, the man who just passed? Julian's heart skipped. He was my uncle. My goodness. Your uncle was a legend. I'm so sorry for your loss. She leaned in conspiratorially. I heard he left quite an estate. Are you involved in the business? Learning, Julian said carefully. Well, if you're anything like your uncle, you'll do wonderfully. Raymond was one of the most brilliant men I ever met. She patted his arm. Enjoy the party, dear. She floated away. Julian exhaled. Simone said, You're doing fine. They reached the bar. Julian ordered a whiskey. Simone got a glass of wine. Long do we have to stay? Julian asked. At least an hour. Any less and it looks like we're avoiding someone. I am avoiding someone. Then do it gracefully. Julian sipped his whiskey, scanned the room. That's when he saw Maya. She stood near the windows wearing a navy dress that Vanessa had probably picked out. Her arms were crossed. Her expression was miserable. And standing next to her, talking at her, was Trevor's mother, a thin white woman with a severe face and too much Botox. Julian's protective instincts flared. "Be right back," he said to Simone, Julian. But he was already moving. He crossed the room, weaving through clusters of conversation. As he got closer, he could hear Trevor's mother talking. "And of course, you'll be transferring to Woodward Academy next year. It's where all the best families send their children. Your current school is fine for public education, but really, you need to be around the right sort of people if you're going to." "Excuse me," Julian said. Trevor's mother turned, looked Julian up and down. "Yes, can I help you?" Maya's father. Woman's eyes widened slightly. Then her expression turned cold. "Oh, Mr. Reeves, I'm Catherine Washington, Trevor's mother. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Washington." Julian looked at Maya. "You okay, baby girl?" Maya's eyes filled with relief. "Dad, yeah, I'm fine." "Actually," Catherine said, "we were just discussing Maya's educational future. I was telling her about how you're planning to transfer her to a different school without asking me or her mother," Julian said evenly. Catherine's smile was tight. "Well, Vanessa and I have already discussed it. She thinks it's a wonderful opportunity." "What does Maya think?" Both women looked at Maya. She shifted uncomfortably. I like my school," Julian said. "She likes her school." "She's 16, Catherine said dismissively. "She doesn't know what's best for her." "With all due respect, Mrs. Washington, you don't know my daughter at all. So maybe you should stop making plans for her life." Catherine's face flushed. "Well, I can see where Maya gets her stubbornness." "You mean her backbone? Yeah, that's from me." Julian, he turned. Vanessa stood there, Trevor at her side. Her expression was a mix of shock and anger. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. "I was invited," Julian said calmly. "By who?" "By me," Simone said, appearing at Julian's side. "Julian is my +1. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "Why would you bring him here?" "Because he's a friend," Simone said smoothly. "And because I didn't realize this was a private event. The invitation said guests were welcome." Trevor stepped forward, extending his hand. "Trevor Washington, I don't think we've been formally introduced." Julian looked at the hand, then at Trevor's face, then back at the hand. He shook it, firm grip, eye contact. "Julian Reeves. Ah, the famous barbecue cook." Trevor's smile was condescending. "Vanessa's told me all about you. I'm sure she has. Listen, man, I just want you to know there's no hard feelings, right? Vanessa and I were building something special, and I'm going to take good care of Maya. You don't have to worry about that." Julian's jaw tight. "I'm not worried because you're not going to be taking care of Maya. I am." Trevor's smile faltered. "Well, she'll be living with us most of the time, so that hasn't been decided yet." "Julian," Vanessa cut in, her voice sharp. "Can we not do this here? This is my engagement party." "Then maybe you shouldn't have invited me," Julian said. "I didn't invite you. Simone did. I'm grateful for that, because now I get to see exactly what kind of world you're trying to drag my daughter into." "Our daughter," Vanessa snapped. "Right, our daughter, who you want to transfer to a different school without asking her what she wants, who you're parading around like a trophy to prove you're a good mother, who you're using to make yourself look good for your mayoral campaign." People around them had gone quiet. Watching, Vanessa's face went pale. "How dare you? How dare I?" Julian's voice rose slightly. "Vanessa, you left me. You chose him. Fine, I signed the papers, but you don't get to rewrite history and pretend I was a bad father. You don't get to take Maya from me just because I don't fit your new image." "Enough," Trevor said, stepping between them. "Look, man, I get it. You're upset. But you need to leave. Now, before you embarrass yourself further." Julian looked at Trevor, really looked at him, arrogant, entitled, used to getting his way, and suddenly Julian understood something. Trevor didn't love Vanessa. He loved what she represented, a beautiful, successful black woman on his arm, a connection to Atlanta's black elite, a political asset. "Leave," Julian said quietly. "But Maya's coming with me." "She's not," Vanessa said. Julian turned to his daughter. "Maya, you want to stay at this party?" Maya looked between her parents, then at Trevor, then at Catherine Washington, who was watching with narrowed eyes. "No," Maya said. "I want to go with Dad." "Maya," Vanessa started. "Mom, I don't want to be here. I never wanted to be here. You made me come. Because you're part of this family." "I'm part of Dad's family," Maya said, her voice stronger now. "And he actually wants me around, not just for show." Vanessa flinched like she'd been slapped. Maya grabbed her purse, took Julian's hand. "Let's go, Dad." Julian nodded, started to turn. "If you leave with her," Vanessa said coldly, "I'll make sure the mediator knows you're trying to turn her against me." Julian stopped, looked back at his ex-wife. "I don't have to turn her against you, Vanessa," he said quietly. You're doing that all by yourself. He walked out, Maya at his side, Simone following. Behind them, whispers erupted. They didn't stop until they were outside, standing under the string lights. Maya was shaking. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to cause a scene. You didn't cause anything, baby girl. Julian pulled her into a hug. You stood up for yourself. I'm proud of you. She buried her face in his chest and cried. Julian held her, looked over her head at Simone. That was risky, Simone said quietly. I know. Vanessa's going to use this. She's going to say you're alienating Maya from her. Julian. Simone, I don't care what she says. I'm not going to stand there and let her manipulate my daughter. I'm not going to let Trevor's family decide Maya's future, and I'm sure as hell not going to apologize for being a good father. Simone studied his face for a long moment, then she smiled. Your uncle would be proud. Why? Because you just walked into the lion's den. You were tested, and you didn't compromise who you are. She pulled out her phone. Now let's get out of here before Vanessa sends someone after us. They started walking toward the parking lot. Julian's phone buzzed. Text from a number he didn't recognize, unknown. Mr. Reeves, this is Isaac Blackwell. I was at the party tonight, saw what happened. I misjudged you. Let's talk Monday. I think we can help each other. Julian stared at the message. Isaac Blackwell, the board member who'd looked at him like he was trash. The man who'd challenged his right to lead Platinum Sky. He was reaching out. Julian showed the text to Simone. Interesting, she said. What does he want? Probably to apologize. Maybe to get on your good side now that he realizes you're not going to be a pushover. She glanced at him. What are you going to do? Julian thought about it. I'm going to meet with him, he said. I'm going to hear what he has to say, and if he's genuine, I'm going to work with him. If he's not, then I'll deal with it. They reached Julian's Honda. The valet brought it around, still looking embarrassed about the car. Julian tipped him anyway, generously. Come on, baby girl, he said to Maya. Let's go home. Sunday morning, Julian woke up to his phone ringing. 6:47 a.m. He grabbed it groggy. Hello, Mr. Reeves, it's Nicole Grant from the Platinum Sky board. Julian sat up. Ms. Grant, is everything okay? Turn on the news. Channel 2. He fumbled for the remote. Turned on the TV. Atlanta Morning News. And there on the screen was a photo of him from last night. The headline, Mystery Man crashes Vanessa Harris Reeves' engagement party. Who is Julian Reeves? The news anchor spoke. Drama at what was supposed to be a celebration for Prestige Properties CEO Vanessa Harris Reeves and her fiancé Trevor Washington. Sources say Vanessa's ex-husband Julian Reeves showed up uninvited and caused a scene, leaving with the couple's teenage daughter. But who is Julian Reeves? And why did one source describe him as better dressed than half the millionaires in the room? Digging into this mystery man's background, Julian's stomach dropped. They're investigating you, Nicole said on the phone. It's only a matter of time before they connect you to Raymond Reeves and Platinum Sky. How long do I have? A day, maybe 2. Atlanta's media loves a mystery and you just became the biggest one in town. Julian ran a hand over his face. What do I do? You control the narrative. You get ahead of it. You make the announcement on your terms, not theirs. How? Board meeting. Tomorrow, we announce you as the new chairman of Platinum Sky Corporation. Full press conference. You tell your story before they can twist it. Not ready. You walked into that party last night and stood up to one of Atlanta's most powerful families. You made Isaac Blackwell respect you. You protected your daughter. Nicole paused. You're ready, Mr. Reeves, whether you believe it or not. Julian looked at the TV. They were showing another photo now, him and Simone walking out together, Maya between them. The caption, Who is the mysterious Julian Reeves? Okay, Julian said. Tomorrow, let's do it. Set it up. Press conference at 2 p.m. Platinum Sky Tower, where the suit you wore last night. And Julian, yeah, don't let them see you sweat. You own this city now, act like it. She hung up. Julian sat there, staring at the TV. This was it. The moment Uncle Raymond's will had been preparing him for. The moment he stepped out of the shadows and into the light. The moment Vanessa learned the truth. Phone rang again. Dante, bro, you're on TV. I know. They're calling you a mystery man. They're trying to figure out who you are. This is insane. Dante, I need a favor. Anything. About to tell the whole city I'm a billionaire tomorrow. Press conference. Silence then. Oh man, Vanessa's gonna lose her mind. I know. You ready for that? Julian thought about Maya crying in his arms last night. Thought about Vanessa's cold eyes. Thought about Trevor's condescending smile. Yeah, Julian said. I'm ready. Monday, 1:45 p.m. Julian stood backstage at the Platinum Sky Tower press room. Through the curtain, he could hear the murmur of reporters, cameras being set up, phones ringing. He wore the same suit from Saturday night. Cameron had insisted. Not just announcing a business position, Cameron had said while adjusting Julian's tie. You're announcing a whole new world order. Look the part. Simone appeared at his side. How you feeling? Terrified. Use it. Let them see you're human. Just don't let them see you're weak. Nicole walked over. We're ready. The board is seated. Press is in position. Are you good to go? Julian took a deep breath. Yeah, let's do this. More thing, Nicole said. Vanessa just arrived. Julian's head snapped up. What? She's in the audience, front row, with Trevor and her lawyer. How did she? I may have sent her an invitation, Nicole said with a slight smile. Figured she should hear this from you in person. Julian's heart pounded. You set this up. You'll thank me later. Now go show them who you are. Lights dimmed in the conference room, a voice over the speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the board of directors of Platinum Sky Corporation. Music played. The board members walked out onto the stage, taking their seats behind a long table. Isaac Blackwell, Nicole Grant, 8 others, and one empty chair in the center. The voice continued. And now, please welcome the new chairman and CEO of Platinum Sky Corporation, Julian Reeves. Julian stepped through the curtain. Camera flashes exploded. Reporters stood. Murmurs rippled through the room. He walked to the center chair, sat down. The room went quiet. Julian leaned toward the microphone. Good afternoon. My name is Julian Reeves, and as of last week I am the sole heir to Raymond Reeves' estate and the new chairman of Platinum Sky Corporation. More flashes, frantic typing on laptops. I know what you're thinking, Julian continued. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? Why haven't we heard of him before? He paused. Answer is simple. For the past 20 years I've been living a normal life. I've been working in restaurants. I've been raising my daughter. I've been running a small barbecue joint on the south side called Smoke and Soul. Gasps. My uncle Raymond left me his empire on one condition, that I prove wealth won't corrupt me, that I prove I can lead this company with integrity, humility, and respect for every person, regardless of their background. Julian's eyes found Vanessa in the front row. She was frozen, pale, staring at him like she was seeing a ghost. Trevor looked sick. So yes, Julian said, turning back to the cameras. I'm a barbecue cook, and I'm also a billionaire, and I don't see any contradiction in that. He stood up. Platinum Sky Corporation is worth $140 billion. We employ over 50,000 people across 15 states, and under my leadership we're going to do things differently. He nodded to Nicole. She stood, pulling up a presentation on the screen behind them. Today, I'm announcing the Platinum Sky Community Initiative, Julian said. We will be investing $500 million into affordable housing, job training programs, and small business grants in underserved communities across Atlanta and beyond. Room erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Julian held up a hand. I'm also announcing a new subsidiary, Reeves Culinary Academy, a free 2-year culinary and hospitality training program for low-income youth, because I believe everyone deserves a chance to build something the way I did. More questions, more chaos, but Julian wasn't done. And finally, he said, his voice cutting through the noise, I want to address the rumors. Yes, I was at Vanessa Harris Reeves' engagement party on Saturday. Yes, I'm her ex-husband. And yes, we are currently in a custody dispute over our daughter. Every camera turned toward Vanessa. She looked like she wanted to disappear. But I'm not here to air personal business, Julian continued. I'm here to make one thing clear. I am not a man who uses money to hurt people. I am not a man who needs to prove my worth through wealth. I am a father, a businessman, and a man who believes in doing right by people, even when they didn't do right by me. He sat back down. Take questions now. Hands shot up. Reporters shouted over each other. Julian pointed to one. Yes, you in the blue, Mr. Reeves. Did your ex-wife know about your inheritance when she filed for divorce? No. How do you feel about her finding out this way? Julian glanced at Vanessa. She was staring at the floor, trembling. Feel like the truth always comes out, he said simply. Next question. Another reporter. Mr. Reeves, you mentioned a custody dispute. Will your financial status affect the outcome? I hope not. I hope the court will see that being a good father has nothing to do with how much money you have. But if I need to use my resources to protect my daughter, I will. You saying you'll fight for custody? I'm saying I already am. Vanessa stood up abruptly, pushed her way out of the room. Trevor followed. The reporters noticed, started to swarm toward them. That's enough, Isaac Blackwell said, standing. Mr. Reeves has made his announcement. This press conference is over. Security moved in, guiding reporters toward the exits. Julian sat there, heart pounding. It was done. The secret was out. Simone appeared at his side. You did good. Vanessa ran out. Yeah, she did. Should I? No, let her process this. She'll reach out when she's ready. Nicole approached, grinning. That was perfect. Social media is exploding. You're trending #1 on Twitter. BBQ Billionaire is going viral. Julian laughed despite himself. Seriously, you just became America's favorite underdog story. Isaac Blackwell extended his hand. Mr. Reeves, I was wrong about you. I apologize. Julian shook his hand. No apology necessary, Mr. Blackwell. You were protecting the company. I respect that. Me, Isaac. And if you're serious about this community initiative, I'd like to help. I've been in Atlanta real estate for 30 years. I know where the need is. Appreciate that. Good. Let's meet tomorrow. Start planning. Walked away. Julian turned to Simone. What just happened? You just became the most powerful man in Atlanta, she said. And you did it with grace. Your uncle would be proud. Julian's phone buzzed. Text from Maya. Maya, Dad, you're on TV. You're a billionaire. Maya, why didn't you tell me? Maya, I'm freaking out. Maya, everyone at school is freaking out. Maya, I love you. Call me. Julian smiled. Then another text came through from Vanessa. Vanessa, we need to talk. Now. Julian stared at the message. Simone read it over his shoulder. You don't have to respond right now. Yeah, I do. He typed back. Julian, my office. Platinum Sky Tower. 1 hour. He hit send. Here we go, he said quietly. 1 hour later, Vanessa walked into Julian's new office like she was walking into enemy territory. The office was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Atlanta. Mahogany desk. Leather chairs. Original art on the walls. Julian sat behind the desk, waiting. Vanessa stopped in the doorway. Stared. This is... She couldn't finish the sentence. My office, Julian said. You can sit if you want. She sat slowly, like the chair might collapse under her. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. $140 billion, Vanessa finally said. Her voice was hollow. Yeah, you've been a billionaire this whole time. No, I inherited it last week. The day before you gave me the divorce papers. She looked up sharply. What? My uncle died. Left me everything. I found out the same day you told me you wanted a divorce. Vanessa's face crumpled. So when I was telling you I was leaving you for Trevor, you already knew you were richer than him. Yeah, you didn't say anything. No, why? Julian leaned back in his chair. Because I wanted to see if you'd go through with it. I wanted to know if the woman I married for 20 years would really leave me just because she thought I was broke. Tears spilled down Vanessa's cheeks. Julian, and you did, Vanessa. You looked me in the eye and told me I wasn't good enough for you, that I was just a barbecue cook, that I couldn't provide the life Maya deserved. I was wrong. Yeah, you were. She stood up, packing. This is insane. This whole thing is insane. You let me divorce you. You let me humiliate you. You let me. She stopped. Oh my God, Trevor. What about him, his family? They've been courting me because they thought I had connections. They thought I could help them get contracts with. She froze. With Platinum Sky, Julian said nothing. You own Washington Development Group now, don't you? Vanessa's voice was barely a whisper. Yeah, Platinum Sky acquired it 6 months ago. Trevor works for you. Technically, yes. Vanessa sank back into the chair, head in her hands. He's been using me. Yeah, doesn't love me. He wanted access to Platinum Sky. Julian stayed quiet. Vanessa looked up, mascara running. And I left you for him. Yeah. Julian, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was stupid. I was blind. You were who you've become, Julian said quietly. And I can forgive you for that, but I can't forget it. What does that mean? It means we're done, Vanessa. The divorce stands. You and Trevor can have your life, but Maya stays with me. Julian, please. No, his voice was firm. You made your choice. You chose status over love, money over family, a fake future over a real past, and now you have to live with that. Fix this. I'll call off the engagement. I don't want you to fix it, Vanessa. I don't want you back. Words hung in the air. Vanessa's face went white. You don't want me back? No, I thought. You thought if you apologized, I'd take you back, like the old Julian who did whatever you wanted. He shook his head. I'm not that man anymore. Because of the money. No, because I finally see what I should have seen years ago. You stopped respecting me long before the money came. And I can't build a life with someone who doesn't respect me." Vanessa stood up, trembling. "So that's it, 20 years of marriage and you're just done." "You were done first, Vanessa, I'm just accepting it." She walked to the door, stopped with her hand on the handle. "What about Maya? I'll see you in court." She left without another word. Julian sat there in the silence of his massive new office alone, but somehow for the first time in years he felt free. That night Julian's phone rang. "Simone, it go with Vanessa," she apologized, wanted me to take her back. And I said no. Silence. Then, "Good for you. It the right call. Do you love her?" Julian thought about it, really thought about it. "I love who she used to be," he said finally. "But that person's been gone for a long time." Then yeah, it was the right call. Julian looked out his apartment window. The city lights of Atlanta stretched out below him. Somewhere out there, Maya was probably still processing everything. Somewhere out there, Vanessa was probably crying. Somewhere out there, Trevor was probably realizing his whole scheme had collapsed. And somewhere out there, Uncle Raymond was probably smiling. "Simone, yeah, thank you for everything. Thank me yet, we still have a custody battle to win. And trust me, Vanessa's not going to go down without a fight. Her fight, I'm ready." "I know you are," Simone paused. "Get some rest, Julian. Tomorrow we start building your empire the right way." She hung up. Julian sat in the darkness thinking about the past week. A funeral, an inheritance, a divorce, a daughter, a press conference. His whole life had exploded and rebuilt itself in 7 days. And he was still standing, still himself. Still Julian Reeves from Pittsburgh, Southwest Atlanta, the barbecue cook, the billionaire, the father, the man who chose grace over revenge. And tomorrow he'd start changing the world. The next morning, Julian woke up to 847 missed calls. Media, investors, long-lost friends. People he hadn't talked to in years suddenly wanting to reconnect. He ignored all of them. Except one, Maya. He called her back immediately. "Dad, finally, I've been trying to reach you all night." "Sorry, baby girl, I turned my phone off." "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong, everything's amazing." "Dad, do you know you're like famous now? My entire school is talking about you. I have reporters trying to interview me. Someone offered me $10,000 for an exclusive about what it's like being your daughter." Julian's stomach tightened. "Maya, you didn't." "No, of course not." "Dad, I'm not selling stories about you." She paused. "But I did vlog about it." "You what?" "I made a vlog about my dad, about how you've been the best father ever even when you had nothing. About how you gave me everything that mattered: time, love, support. About how money doesn't make you a good parent, character does." Julian's throat tightened. "Baby girl and dad, it has 2 million views already. 2 million. People are crying in the comments. They're saying you're their hero. They're saying they wish their parents were like you." Julian sat down on his bed, overwhelmed. "I'm proud of you, Dad," Maya said softly. "I've always been proud of you, and I'm glad the whole world finally sees what I've always known. I love you, Maya. I love you too. Now go be a billionaire or whatever. I have school." She hung up. Julian sat there, phone in hand, heart full. Then he got dressed, showered, put on another suit. One of the 5 cameramen had delivered to his apartment with a note. "You'll need these. Trust me." He drove to Smoke and Soul BBQ. Marcus was already there, prepping for lunch service. "Boss," Marcus looked up from the grill. "Man, I saw you on TV. You're a billionaire. What are you doing here?" "Working," Julian said, tying on an apron. "Working? Boss, you own like half of Atlanta now. You don't need to work here anymore." "Yeah, I do." "Why?" "Because this is who I am, Marcus. This is where I started. And I'm not abandoning that just because I have money now." Marcus stared at him, then smiled. "Man, you're something else. You sticking around? Are you kidding? I'm not going anywhere. This is the most famous barbecue spot in Georgia now. We're gonna be packed." He wasn't wrong. By 11:30 a.m. there was a line around the block, news vans parked outside, people wanting to meet the barbecue billionaire. Julian worked the grill, took orders, smiled for selfies, stayed himself. At 1 p.m. Isaac Blackwell walked in. The entire restaurant went quiet. Isaac Blackwell, old money, white Atlanta elite, standing in a Southside barbecue joint. He approached the counter. "Mr. Reeves." "Isaac, what can I get you?" "Your best brisket sandwich. And a side of collard greens." Julian grinned. "Coming right up." He made the sandwich himself, extra sauce, extra pickles, handed it to Isaac. Isaac took a bite, chewed slowly, then nodded. "This is incredible, thanks. I mean it, best barbecue I've ever had. You should come by more often." "I think I will." Isaac pulled out a business card. I did some research on affordable housing opportunities in Atlanta, found 15 properties that would be perfect for the community initiative. I sent the info to Nicole, wanted to run it by you first though. Julian wiped his hands on his apron, took the card. I'll look at it, thanks Isaac. Thank you, Julian, for showing me that success doesn't have to come with arrogance. He extended his hand. I'm glad you're leading this company. They shook hands. Isaac left. And Julian went back to work. Because that's who he was, billionaire or not, chairman or not, he was Julian Reeves, and he wasn't going to change for anybody. 2 weeks later, custody hearing. Julian sat at the plaintiff's table, Simone beside him, across the aisle. Vanessa, her lawyer Marcus Webb, and surprisingly, no Trevor. Where's your fiancé? Julian whispered to Simone. They broke up, Simone whispered back. Vanessa found out he was only with her for business connections. Once she realized you owned his family's company, she cut him loose. Julian felt a pang of sympathy, then remembered how Vanessa had treated him. The sympathy faded. Judge Patricia Moore entered. Everyone stood. Be seated, the judge said. We're here to determine custody arrangements for Maya Reeves, age 16. I've reviewed all submitted materials. I've also conducted a private interview with Maya. Julian's heart pounded. MS. Harris Reeves, the judge said, your petition requests primary physical custody based on financial stability and educational opportunities. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor, Vanessa said, standing. Mr. Reeves, you contest this petition. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor, Julian said. Reviewed the financial disclosures, Judge Moore said. And I must say this is one of the more unusual cases I've presided over. She looked directly at Julian. Mr. Reeves, 2 weeks ago you were listed as earning approximately $60,000 annually. Now you're listed as the chairman of a corporation worth $140 billion. Can you explain that? Julian stood. Yes, Your Honor. I inherited my late uncle's estate. The timing coincided with my divorce proceedings. I see. And Ms. Harris Reeves, were you aware of this inheritance when you filed for divorce? Vanessa hesitated. No, Your Honor, I see. The judge made a note. Now, typically, financial resources play a role in custody determinations. However, in this case, both parents clearly have the means to provide for their child. She folded her hands. What concerns me more is the stability and emotional well-being of Maya, which brings me to her testimony. Julian held his breath. Maya was very clear about her preferences, Judge Moore said. She stated, and I quote, my dad has always been there for me. He comes to my games. He helps with my homework. He listens to me. My mom loves me, but she loves her work more, and I'm tired of being second place in her life. Vanessa's face crumpled. Maya also stated, the judge continued, that she does not wish to transfer schools, does not wish to live with Mr. Washington, and does not wish to be used as a political prop for her mother's mayoral campaign. Vanessa stood. Your Honor, my daughter is 16. She doesn't understand. She understands perfectly, Ms. Harris Reeves, and she's old enough for her preferences to carry significant weight in this court. Judge Moore looked at her notes. I'm granting primary physical custody to Mr. Julian Reeves. Julian's knees nearly buckled. MS. Harris Reeves will have visitation rights every other weekend and alternating holidays. This arrangement will be reviewed in 1 year. Gavel came down. Court is adjourned. Julian sat down hard, unable to breathe. He'd won. He'd actually won. Simone grabbed his hand. You did it. Across the aisle, Vanessa was crying. Marcus was packing up papers, looking defeated. Julian stood. Walked over to his ex-wife. Vanessa, she looked up, mascara running. I'm sorry, he said quietly. What, you won? Sorry it came to this. I'm sorry we couldn't make it work, and I'm sorry Maya had to choose. Vanessa wiped her eyes. I did this to myself, didn't I? Julian didn't answer. Can I? Vanessa swallowed hard. Can I still see her outside of the court schedule? That's up to Maya. But I won't stop her from seeing you if that's what she wants. Vanessa nodded. Thank you. Julian started to walk away. Stopped. What it's worth, Vanessa said. You're going to be an amazing chairman and an even better father. I see that now. Julian met her eyes, saw genuine regret there. Thank you, Vanessa. He left. Outside the courthouse, Maya was waiting. She ran to him, threw her arms around his neck. We won, Dad, we won. Julian held his daughter tight, eyes burning. Yeah, baby girl, we did. If you thought this was intense, just wait till the end of this story because Julian's journey isn't over yet. What happens when the 90-day trial period ends? Will Julian keep his empire? And what about Simone? Is there more to their relationship than business? Comment below. Do you think Vanessa deserved a second chance? Let me know. Was day 47 of 90. Julian stood in front of the bathroom mirror at 5:30 a.m. trying to knot his tie for the third time. His hands were shaking. You okay in there? Simone's voice came from the bedroom. Wait, Simone's voice. In his bedroom, at 5:30 in the morning. How did that happen? Let me back up. 3 weeks earlier, it started innocently enough. After the custody hearing, Julian had thrown himself into running Platinum Sky Corporation. Board meetings, strategy sessions, community initiative planning, the Culinary Academy groundbreaking. Simone was there for all of it. As his attorney, his advisor, his friend, they worked late nights in his office. Grabbed dinner after meetings, nothing fancy, just food trucks and hole-in-the-wall restaurants because Julian refused to forget where he came from. They talked about everything. His marriage, her past, his dreams for the company, her fears about getting close to people. Been alone a long time, Simone had said one night over tacos from a street vendor. When you're adopted, when you lose your parents young, you learn not to need people. It's safer that way. Safer, Julian had agreed. But lonelier. Looked at him then. Really looked at him. You get it. Yeah, I do. That was the night things shifted, not dramatically. Not like in movies where violins play and people suddenly kiss in the rain. Just shifted. A hand held a second too long. Eyes meeting across a conference table. Simone laughing at his jokes, really laughing, not the polite professional laugh she gave everyone else. Maya noticed first. Dad, you like her, she'd said one Sunday morning while they made pancakes together. Like who? Simone, don't play dumb. Julian had flipped a pancake, avoiding his daughter's eyes. She's my lawyer, Dad. I have 2 million followers on YouTube. I know when people have chemistry, and you two have chemistry. Maya, it's okay, you know, to like someone. To be happy. Mom moved on. You're allowed to move on too. Julian had set down the spatula, looked at his daughter. Be okay with that. If I dated someone, Maya had hugged him. Dad, I want you to be happy. Simone makes you smile, like really smile. The way you used to smile before Mom started treating you like you were invisible. That conversation had stayed with Julian for days, until last week. Julian had been working late, again, reviewing contracts for the affordable housing project. It was past midnight. The Platinum Sky Tower was empty except for security. Simone had brought him coffee, sat across from him. You need to sleep, she'd said. I need to finish this. We break ground in 3 days. Julian, the contracts can wait until morning. No, they can't. There are 50 families waiting for housing. Families sleeping in shelters. Families in their cars. Every day I delay is another day they're struggling. Simone had reached across the desk, taken his hand. This is why your uncle chose you. What? This, right here, you're a billionaire. You could be at home sleeping in silk sheets. Instead, you're here at midnight worrying about families you've never met. That's who you are. Julian had looked at their hands, intertwined, natural. Simone, I know I'm your attorney. I know it's complicated. I know we should probably keep things professional. Yeah, we probably should. I don't want to. Julian's heart had pounded. You don't? No, I've been alone for a long time, Julian. By choice, because it was easier, because I didn't want to risk getting hurt. She'd met his eyes. But you make me want to risk it. Simone, I'm still figuring out who I am. I'm still learning this world. I'm still processing my divorce. I'm probably the worst person to get involved with right now. I know. So why would you want to? She'd smiled, soft, genuine, because you're you, not the money, not the position, not the power, just you. That's when he'd kissed her or she'd kissed him. Or they'd kissed each other. Didn't matter who moved first. What mattered was that it felt right. For the first time in years, something felt completely, perfectly right. Back to the present day 47, so that's how Simone ended up in his apartment at 5:30 a.m. They'd been together, really together, for 3 weeks now, taking it slow, keeping it private. Maya knew. Dante knew. Nobody else. Especially not the media, who were still obsessed with every detail of Julian's life. You didn't answer my question, Simone said, appearing in the bathroom doorway. She wore one of his t-shirts and looked absolutely beautiful. Julian gave up on the tie. I'm nervous. About the board meeting, about everything. He turned to face her. Today's day 47. I'm more than halfway through Uncle Raymond's test, and I have no idea if I'm passing or failing. Simone stepped closer, fixed his tie with practiced hands. passing, she said quietly. Do you know? Because you're still you. You still work at Smoke and Soul 3 days a week. You still tip 50%. You still answer Maya's calls in the middle of meetings. You still care more about the community initiative than the stock prices. She finished the tie, smoothed his collar. Your uncle's test wasn't about the money, Julian. It was about your character, and your character hasn't changed. Julian pulled her close. What did I do to deserve you? You were yourself. That was enough. They stood there for a moment, just holding each other. Then Julian's phone alarm went off. 5:45 am. You have to go, Simone said. I know, big day today. Yeah, today was the official launch of the Reeves Culinary Academy. Ribbon-cutting ceremony, mayor in attendance, media coverage, the works. And tonight was the board's monthly review where they'd assess Julian's leadership and report back to Uncle Raymond's estate trustees. 43 days to go until the final judgment. 43 days to prove he deserved this empire. No pressure. 9:00 a.m. Reeves Culinary Academy groundbreaking. The lot in Pittsburgh neighborhood was packed. News vans, city officials, community members, students from local high schools who'd applied for the first class. Julian stood on the platform looking out at the crowd. Maya was in the front row filming for her vlog. Dante stood beside her, grinning like a proud brother. Isaac Blackwell was there. Nicole Grant. The entire Platinum Sky board. The back barely visible was Vanessa. Julian's heart skipped. He hadn't expected her to come. The mayor finished his speech. Handed the microphone to Julian. Deep breath. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Applause. 25 years ago, I was 19 years old, working the line at Pascal's restaurant. I was making minimum wage. I was terrified I'd never amount to anything. But the head chef man named Robert Williams, he pulled me aside one day and said, "Son, you got talent. Don't waste it." Julian paused, collecting himself. Robert gave me a chance, taught me everything, believed in me when nobody else did. He passed away 5 years ago, but I never forgot what he did for me. He gestured to the empty lot behind him. This academy is named after him, the Robert Williams Culinary Academy, because I want to do for other kids what Robert did for me, give them a chance, teach them a skill, show them they matter. His voice broke slightly. Starting next fall, we'll accept 50 students every year, tuition-free, 2-year program. They'll learn cooking, restaurant management, hospitality, business. And when they graduate, they'll have jobs waiting at Platinum Sky restaurants across the country. Guaranteed. Crowd erupted. Julian's eyes found Maya. She was crying, still filming. My daughter told me something a few weeks ago, Julian continued. She said, Dad, having money doesn't make you rich. Helping people makes you rich. And she's right. More applause. So today, we're not just breaking ground on a building. We're breaking ground on dreams, on futures, on possibilities. He picked up the gold-painted shovel. Let's do this. He drove the shovel into the dirt. Cameras flashed, people cheered, and Julian felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Pride, not in the money, not in the power, pride in doing something that mattered. After the ceremony, Vanessa approached him. Julian saw her coming, debated walking away, but he didn't. Hey, Vanessa said. She looked different, softer somehow, less polished, more real. Hey, Julian said. That was beautiful, what you said up there. Thanks. Awkward silence. I didn't know you were coming, Julian said. I wasn't going to, but Maya called me, asked me to come, said it would mean a lot to you. Julian glanced at his daughter, who was pretending not to watch them. She's got a big heart. Gets that from you. More silence. Are you? Julian asked. Vanessa laughed, bitter. Honestly, I'm a mess. Trevor and I broke up. My campaign manager quit. My company's bleeding money. I'm probably going to have to sell. Julian's protective instinct kicked in, then stopped. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I am. I don't want to see you fail, Vanessa. I just didn't want to be dragged down with you. She nodded slowly. That's fair. What are you going to do? I don't know. Start over, I guess. Figure out who I am without the empire I spent 20 years building. It's not easy. It's not. She looked at him. But you did it. You lost everything and built it back better. Maybe I can too. Julian saw something in her eyes he hadn't seen in years. Humility, vulnerability, the Vanessa he'd fallen in love with at 19. You can, he said quietly. I believe in you. Her eyes filled with tears. You do? Yeah, you're smart, you're driven, you just got lost for a while, but you can find your way back. Vanessa wiped her eyes. Thank you, Julian, for saying that, for not gloating, for being kind. Not doing it for you. I'm doing it for Maya. She needs both her parents to be okay. I know, Vanessa hesitated. Can I ask you something? Sure. Woman I saw you with at the press conference. Simone Chen, are you too? Julian's jaw tight. That's personal, Vanessa. I know, I'm sorry, she stopped herself. Never mind, it's none of my business. She started to walk away. Vanessa, she turned back. Yeah, Julian said. We are. Vanessa's face flickered with something pain, regret, acceptance. Good, she said finally. You deserve to be happy. So do you. She smiled sadly. I'm working on it, she left. Julian stood there watching her go, felt a hand slip into his. Simone, okay, she asked. Yeah, I think I am. That was kind, what you said to her. She's Maya's mom and she's struggling. I can't kick her when she's down. Simone kissed his cheek. Your uncle would be proud. At 7:00 p.m. Platinum Sky board meeting, the boardroom was tense. Julian sat at the head of the table, Isaac on his right, Nicole on his left, 12 board members, all watching him. Let's get started, Julian said. We're here for the monthly leadership review. I know you all have opinions about how I'm running this company. Let's hear them. Isaac spoke first. Mr. Chairman, I'll be direct. When you first took over, I thought you'd run Platinum Sky into the ground within a month. Julian's stomach tightened. But I was wrong, Isaac continued. In the past 47 days, you've increased our stock value by 12%. You've secured 3 major development contracts. You've improved employee satisfaction ratings, and you've launched the most ambitious community initiative this company has ever seen. He paused. Not just maintaining your uncle's legacy, you're building your own, and I'm honored to work with you, Julian exhaled. Thank you, Isaac, Nicole spoke next. I agree with Isaac, but I have concerns. What concerns? You're working yourself to death. You're at Smoke and Soul 3 mornings a week. You're here until midnight most nights. You're personally reviewing every contract, every initiative, every detail. You can't sustain that, Julian. I can handle it. How long? You have 43 days left until the final evaluation. You need to delegate. You need to trust us to do our job so you can do yours. Julian looked around the table, saw genuine concern on their faces. Right, he said quietly. I've been trying to prove I can do everything, trying to prove I deserve this position. But that's not leadership. That's fear. It's not fear, Isaac said. It's care. You care about every detail because you care about every person affected. That's admirable, but Nicole's right, you need balance. Julian nodded. Okay, starting tomorrow, I'm delegating more. I'll focus on strategy, you all focus on execution. Deal, the board said in unison. Good, what else? A younger board member, white guy named David Chen, no relation to Simone, raised his hand. I have a question about the community initiative. Ahead. We've allocated $500 million to affordable housing, job training, and small business grants. That's a massive investment. What's the expected return? Julian leaned back. The expected return is that 50 families won't be homeless this winter. The expected return is that 200 kids will learn skills that'll change their lives. The expected return is that 20 small businesses will survive instead of closing. In terms of profit, David, not everything is about profit, Julian said firmly. This company was built on profit, but it'll be sustained by purpose. If all we care about is money, we're no different than every other soulless corporation out there. David looked uncomfortable. I'm not saying profit doesn't matter, Julian continued. It does. We need to be financially sustainable, but I refuse to sacrifice people for percentage points. That's not who I am. And that's not who this company will be under my leadership, Isaac smiled. Well said, Mr. Chairman. Meeting continued for another hour. Budget reviews, project updates. Strategic planning. By 9 p.m. they were done. As everyone filed out, Isaac pulled Julian aside. That thing you said about purpose over profit, your uncle used to say the same thing. Yeah, he built this empire, but he never forgot why he built it. He wanted to create opportunities, change lives, make a difference. Isaac put a hand on Julian's shoulder. You're more like him than you know. I hope so. Trust me, you are. 10:00 p.m. at Smoke and Soul Barbecue. Julian should have gone home, should have rested, but instead he drove to his restaurant. Marcus was closing up. Boss, what are you doing here? Felt like cooking, Julian said, grabbing an apron. At 10 p.m. best time, no customers, no distractions, just me and the grill, Marcus grinned. You miss it, don't you? Miss what? This, the simple stuff, before you became the most famous man in Atlanta. Julian fired up the smoker. Yeah. I do. They worked in comfortable silence for a while. Julian prepping brisket for tomorrow's lunch rush. Marcus cleaning the kitchen. Can I ask you something, boss? Marcus said. Sure. You got all that money now. You could sell this place, retire, never work another day in your life. Why do you keep coming back? Julian thought about it, really thought about it. Because this is where I figured out who I am, he said finally. This restaurant taught me patience, discipline, pride in my work. It taught me that success isn't about how much money you make, it's about how much heart you put in. He rubbed the spice blend into the brisket. If I sell this place, I lose that. I lose the part of me that remembers what struggle feels like. And the day I forget that is the day I become exactly what my uncle warned me against. Marcus nodded slowly. You're a good man, boss. Don't let anybody tell you different. Thanks, Marcus. At midnight, Julian locked up, started to head home. Then his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something told him to. Hello, Mr. Reeves, this is Gerald Thompson. I'm the executor of your Uncle Raymond's estate. Julian's heart stopped. Is everything okay? Yes, sir. I'm calling to inform you that we've been monitoring your progress over the past 47 days. The board reports, the media coverage, the community feedback. And I wanted to give you a heads up. The trustees are very impressed. You're exceeding expectations in every category. Julian leaned against his car. Really? Really? But Mr. Reeves, I also need to warn you, the final 43 days will be the hardest. That's when the real tests begin. That's when people will try to use your wealth against you, try to corrupt you, try to pull you away from your values. What kind of tests? I can't say. Your uncle's will prohibits me from giving specifics, but I can tell you this, stay true to yourself. Remember why you're doing this. And don't let anyone, not money, not power, not even love, make you compromise who you are. Line went dead. Julian stood there in the empty parking lot, heart pounding. 43 days until he either kept everything or lost it all. 43 days until he proved he was worthy of Uncle Raymond's legacy. No pressure. The next morning, Julian woke up to chaos. His phone was blowing up. Text messages, missed calls, news alerts. He grabbed the phone, groggy. Dante, bro, turn on the news. Now Julian fumbled for the remote, turned on the TV. Atlanta morning news. And there on the screen was a photo of him and Simone leaving his apartment building together. Early morning, her wearing his t-shirt, the headline, Billionaire Julian Reeves in relationship with his attorney, conflict of interest. Julian's stomach dropped. The news anchor spoke. Questions are being raised this morning about the relationship between Platinum Sky CEO Julian Reeves and attorney Simone Chen. Sources say the two have been dating for several weeks, raising concerns about conflict of interest given that Ms. Chen represented Mr. Reeves in his recent custody battle. Julian's phone rang. Simone, did you see? She asked, voice tight. Yeah, I saw. Julian, this is bad. The media is going to tear us apart. They're going to say I used my position to get close to you. They're going to say you're abusing your power. You? Am I what? Using your position. Because I know I'm not abusing mine. I love you, Simone. That's real. That's not about business. Silence, then quietly. I love you too. Then we tell the truth. We go public. We explain that our relationship started after the custody case was settled. We show them there's nothing unethical about two adults falling in love. Julian, it's not that simple. Yes, it is. I'm not hiding you, I'm not ashamed of us, and I'm not letting the media dictate my personal life. Your uncle's test, my uncle's test is about staying true to myself. And myself loves you, so that's what I'm going to do. Another call beeped through. Nicole Grant, I gotta go, Julian said. Emergency board meeting, but Simone will get through this. How do you know? Because we're stronger than the noise. He switched calls. Nicole, Julian, we have a problem. I know, I saw the news. It's worse than the news. 3 board members are calling for your resignation. They're saying the relationship with Simone shows poor judgment. They're saying it's proof you're not ready to lead. Julian's jaw clenched. Who? David Chen, Margaret Hartwell, and Robert Price. Up a meeting today, I'll handle it. Julian, you need to be careful. If the board votes no confidence, the trustees can remove you immediately. Game over. I said I'll handle it. He hung up, took a deep breath. This was it. The test Gerald Thompson warned him about, people trying to use his choices against him, trying to corrupt his leadership, trying to make him choose between his values and his position. But Julian Reeves didn't get this far by backing down, and he wasn't about to start now. At 2:00 p.m. there was an emergency board meeting. Julian walked into the boardroom, all 12 board members present, plus Gerald Thompson, the estate executor. This was serious. David Chen stood up immediately. "Mr. Chairman, we need to discuss your relationship with Simone Chen." "Will," Julian said calmly. "But first, let's be clear about something. My personal life is my personal life. It doesn't affect my ability to lead this company." "It does when it creates the appearance of impropriety," Margaret Hartwell said, her voice icy. "You were in a custody battle. She was your attorney. Now you're dadding. That looks like a conflict of interest." "It would be," Julian agreed. "If we'd been dadding during the custody case, but we weren't. Our relationship began after the case was settled. Simone had already recused herself from representing Platinum Sky to avoid any conflicts. She followed every ethical guideline. The optics," David started. "Optics are that two adults fell in love," Julian interrupted. "That's it. There's no scandal, no corruption, no abuse of power, just two people who care about each other." "You're a billionaire dadding your former attorney," Robert Price said. "How is that not an abuse of power?" Julian looked Robert dead in the eye. "Because she's not my employee. She's not financially dependent on me. She has her own career, her own money, her own life. We're equals, and I refuse to apologize for that." "This is exactly what we were afraid of," Margaret said. "You're letting your emotions cloud your judgment," Julian said firmly. "I'm letting my emotions make me human. My uncle's test wasn't about being a robot. It was about being a good man. And good men don't hide their relationships because they're afraid of what people will think." Isaac Blackwell spoke up. "I agree with Julian." Everyone turned. "When Raymond Reeves gave Julian this company," Isaac continued, "he didn't want him to become some corporate machine. He wanted him to stay real, stay grounded, stay human, and part of being human is loving someone." Nicole nodded. "I agree. Julian's relationship with Simone doesn't affect his leadership. If anything, it makes him a better leader. He's more balanced, more focused, happier." "This is ridiculous," David muttered. "We're running a corporation, not a dadding service." "You're right," Julian said. "We're running a corporation. One that's worth $140 billion. $1 that's grown 12% in the past 7 weeks. One that's launching initiatives that'll change thousands of lives, all under my leadership." He stood up. "So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to keep dadding Simone. I'm going to keep running this company. And I'm going to keep doing both with integrity. If you can't handle that, then vote me out. But know this, if you vote me out over my personal life, you're proving you care more about optics than actual leadership." Silence. Then Gerald Thompson spoke. "May I say something?" Everyone nodded. "Been monitoring Mr. Reeves' progress for 47 days, Gerald said. And I've seen something remarkable. He's built a billion-dollar company while maintaining his character. He's navigated public scrutiny without compromising his values. He's faced personal attacks without becoming bitter." He looked around the room. Raymond Reeves knew his nephew would face tests like this. That's why he put the 90-day clause in the will. He wanted to make sure Julian could handle pressure without losing himself. "And from where I'm sitting, Julian's passing with flying colors," David scoffed. "Even though he's dadding his attorney." "Especially because he's dadding his attorney," Gerald said. "Because he's not hiding it. He's not lying about it. He's standing here telling you the truth, even though it might cost him everything. That's integrity, Mr. Chen. That's character." He turned to Julian. "Mr. Reeves, I'm recommending to the trustees that you continue as chairman. Not in spite of this relationship, but because of how you've handled it." Julian's knees nearly buckled. "Thank you, sir." "Thank me. Just keep being who you are." Gerald left. The board sat in silence. Finally, Isaac spoke. "All in favor of keeping Julian Reeves as chairman, say aye." Isaac said. "Aye," Nicole said. One by one, the board members voted. 8 ayes, 3 nays, David, Margaret, Robert. 1 abstention. Julian had survived. That night, Julian took Simone to Piedmont Park. They sat on a bench overlooking the lake, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. "You almost lost everything today," Simone said quietly. "I know. Because of me. Because of people who can't mind their own business." Julian took her hand. "But even if I had lost it, I wouldn't regret this. Us." Simone leaned her head on his shoulder. "I love you, Julian Reeves." "I love you too, Simone Chen." They sat there in comfortable silence, then Simone's phone buzzed. She checked it, frowned. "What's wrong?" Julian asked. "It's an email from Vanessa's lawyer." Julian's stomach tightened. "What does it say?" Simone read it, then smiled. "Vanessa's dropping the custody appeal. She's accepting the court's ruling. She says she wants to focus on rebuilding her relationship with Maya on her own terms, not through legal battles." Julian exhaled, relief flooding through him. "Really? Really?" Simone looked at him. "It's over, Julian. The custody fight is over. You won." Julian pulled out his phone. Texted Maya. "Julian, hey baby girl, you still up?" Maya, "Yeah, Dad." "What's up?" Julian, "Just wanted to tell you I love you." Maya, "I love you too, Dad." "Everything okay?" Julian, "Everything's perfect." He put the phone away. Looked at Simone, looked at the sunset, looked at the city he'd grown up in, the city that had given him everything and taken everything and given it all back again. 43 days left, 43 days until he knew if this was all real or just a dream. But right now, in this moment, with Simone beside him and Maya safe at home, and the company thriving and his character intact right now, Julian Reeves felt like the richest man in the world. Not because of the billions in his bank account, but because he'd stayed true to himself. And that was worth more than any fortune. On day 89 of 90, tomorrow was the final day. Tomorrow, the trustees would make their decision. Tomorrow, Julian would either keep his inheritance or lose it all. He couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m. he got out of bed, careful not to wake Simone, and drove to Smoke and Soul Barbecue, let himself in. Turned on the lights, stood in the empty restaurant, breathing in the smell of smoke and spices and memories. This place had been his sanctuary for 12 years. If he lost everything tomorrow, he'd still have this, still have Maya, still have Simone, still have himself. And maybe that was the whole point. Maybe Uncle Raymond's test wasn't about keeping the money. Maybe it was about realizing you didn't need it to be whole. Julian's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number, unknown, Julian Reeves. "I've been watching you for 90 days. Tomorrow you'll know if you pass the test. But I already know the answer. You passed the moment you realized the money wasn't the prize. The man you became along the way, that was the prize. Sleep well. Tomorrow everything changes." R.R. Julian stared at the message, R.R. Raymond Reeves, but that was impossible. Uncle Raymond was dead unless he'd set this message to send automatically on day 89, one final message from beyond the grave. "You passed the moment you realized the money wasn't the prize." Julian smiled, then he laughed, then he cried, because he understood now. The money was never the point. The point was becoming the kind of man who deserved it, and he had, on day 90 of 90, the final judgment. Julian stood in the conference room at Platinum Sky Tower. Gerald Thompson sat across from him, 2 other trustees beside him. Maya sat on Julian's right, Simone on his left. The entire board was present. The media waited outside. This was it. "Mr. Reeves," Gerald said, "we've reviewed your 90-day probationary period. We've examined every decision you made, every contract you signed, every initiative you launched, every relationship you built." Julian's heart pounded. "We've also examined your character," Gerald continued. "How you treated employees, how you handled power, how you responded to adversity, how you managed your personal life under public scrutiny." He opened a folder. "Raymond Reeves will stated that you must prove wealth would not corrupt you. That you must maintain your integrity, your humility, and your compassion. That you must use your power to help people, not hurt them." Gerald looked up. "After 90 days of observation, the trustees have reached a unanimous decision." Room was silent. "Julian Reeves," Gerald said, standing, "you have passed the test. Effective immediately, you are the permanent chairman and CEO of Platinum Sky Corporation. All assets, holdings, and wealth are now yours without restriction or condition." Room erupted. Maya threw her arms around Julian, kissed his cheek. Isaac and shook his hand, but Julian couldn't move, couldn't speak. He'd done it. He'd actually done it. Handed him a second envelope. "Your uncle left this for you, to be opened only if you passed." Took it with shaking hands, opened it. Inside was a letter. "Julian, if you're reading this, you made it. You stayed true to yourself. You didn't let the money change you. I'm proud of you, son. I always have been. Now go build something beautiful. Not just with money, with character, with purpose. With love. The empire is yours, but more importantly, you're still yours. That's all I ever wanted. Love always, Uncle." Julian folded the letter carefully, put it in his pocket, looked around the room at the people who'd become his family. Isaac, who'd challenged him and then supported him, who'd believed in him from the start, who'd loved him when he had nothing and still loved him now that he had everything. Maya, who'd never doubted him for a second. You, Julian said, his voice thick with emotion. All of you, for giving me a chance, for holding me accountable, for making me better. Made yourself better, Isaac said. We just watched, stood. So, Mr. Chairman, what's smiled? Change the world. Months later, the Reeves Culinary Academy graduated its first class. 50 students, 50 futures, 50 dreams realized. Julian stood on the stage, watching them walk across to receive their diplomas. In the front row sat his now, the ring on her finger catching the light. Beside her sat Maya, filming everything for her vlog, which now had 5 million subscribers. And next to Maya sat Vanessa. She'd come. Julian had invited her and she'd come, because co-parenting meant showing up. Even when it was hard, after the ceremony, Vanessa approached him. She said, "This is incredible. You mean it, Julian. What you've built here, it's going to change lives." The plan hesitated. "Can I tell you? Proud of you. I know I don't have the right to be. I know I gave up that right when I left you, but I'm proud of the man you've become." Felt something release in his chest, something he'd been holding onto for too long. "You, Vanessa, that means a lot. Doing better, by the way. I sold prestige properties, took some time off, started therapy. I'm trying to figure out who I am without the hustle. For you, said you might have a position for me. At one of the Platinum Sky subsidiaries, entry level, I don't expect special treatment, but if the offer's real," Julian said. "Looking for a project manager for the Affordable Housing Initiative if you're interested." Eyes widened. "You're good at real estate, Vanessa. You just got lost for a while. But you can find your way back." Wiped her eyes. "Thank you, Julian. Thank me. Just show up and do the work." "Will, I promise." Walked away, appeared at Julian's side. "That was kind. Trying. I can respect that. A good man, Julian Reeves. Make me want to be." Stood there watching the graduates celebrate with their families. Julian's phone buzzed. Text from Dante. "Dante, yo, turn on channel 2. You're not gonna believe this." Julian pulled out his phone, opened the news app. Breaking: Julian Reeves named Atlanta's most influential person of the year. The article detailed his 90-day journey, his community initiatives, his commitment to change. "Famous," said, reading over his shoulder. "Just a barbecue cook," Julian said. "Happens to own $140 billion. Laughed. Maya ran over, phone in hand. "Dad, my video about the academy just hit 10 million views. 10. Amazing, baby girl. I got an email from a publisher. They want me to write a book about you, about us, about everything that happened." Eyebrows rose. "What you tell," said. "I'd think about it." "What do you?" Looked at his daughter, 16 years old, brilliant, beautiful, strong. "Think you should tell your story," he said. "Not mine, yours. What it was like being caught between your parents. What it was like watching me go from broke to billionaire. What it was like finding your own voice." Grinned. "That's a way better book. Write it." Hugged him. "I love you, Dad. Love you too, baby girl." The sun set over Atlanta. Julian Reeves stood surrounded by the people he loved, his daughter, his friends, his community. He'd started this journey as a man who'd lost everything, and ended it as a man who'd gained everything that mattered. Not the money, not the power, not the fame, but the character to handle it all without losing himself. That was Uncle Real Gift, not the $140 billion. But the 90 days that proved Julian didn't need it to be whole. And as Julian watched the sunset paint the sky gold, he smiled. Because he'd finally learned the truth. Real wealth isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in dignity, in character, in love, and by that, Reeves was the richest man alive. 1 year later, Julian stood at the altar, watching walk down the aisle. She was beautiful, radiant, perfect. Maya stood beside him as his best woman, crying happy tears. Dante stood on the other side as his best man, grinning like a fool. In the front row sat Vanessa, smiling genuinely. She'd been promoted at Platinum Sky, was dadding a school teacher, was building a real life, not just an image. Isaac sat beside her next to Grant and the rest of the board. The whole community was there. People from Pittsburgh neighborhood, students from the Culinary Academy, employees from Smoke and Soul. This wasn't a billionaire's wedding. This was Julian Reeves' wedding. Barbecue cook, father, friend, leader, just a man marrying the woman he loved. Reached the altar, took his hands. "Ready?" she whispered. "Been ready," Julian whispered back. The officiant began. "Dearly beloved, As Julian said his vows, promising to love in richness and in poverty, in fame and in obscurity, in power and in humility, he realized something. Uncle Test never really ended. Every day was a test. Every decision was a choice. Would he stay humble? Would he stay kind? Would he stay? Was the real inheritance not the money, but the man he'd become while earning the right to have it? Do, Julian said. Do, said, may kiss the bride. He did. As applause erupted and cameras flashed and Maya cheered and Dante Wolfe whistled, Julian Reeves kissed his wife and knew without a doubt that he was the luckiest man alive, not because of the billions, but because he'd found what money could never buy: love, purpose, peace, and that was worth more than all the empires in the world. Some stories are told to entertain, but this one is meant to teach. If you made it all the way to the end of Julian's story, thank you, really. Thank you for watching. Julian's journey taught us something powerful. Your worth isn't in your bank account. It's in your character. Money can come and go. Fame can rise and fade. Power can be given and taken away, but who you are, that's forever. Julian used his billions to destroy Vanessa, to humiliate, to crush everyone who ever looked down on him. But he didn't, because he understood that real power isn't about revenge. It's about grace. It's about staying true to yourself when you have every reason to change. It's about lifting people up instead of tearing them down. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone disrespects you, choose grace. The next time someone underestimates you, prove them wrong with your character, not your words. The next time you have power over someone, use it to help them, not hurt them. Because at the end of the day, people won't remember what you owned. They'll remember who you were. Be like Julian Reeves. Stay humble. Stay kind. Stay real, no matter how much or how little you have. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. If you loved this journey, subscribe for more stories that'll make you think, feel, and grow. And remember, you're not defined by what you have. You're defined by what you do with it. Now go out there and build your empire, not with money, but with character. That's the real wealth. That's the real legacy. That's the real you. I'll see you in the next story. Peace.